the ancient woodlands of the New Forest. A sanctuary for many animals which you would expect to find dwelling here. But living amongst them is an animal that is so elusive, you might not even know it existed. It's hard to believe, but below this frosted landscape lies a labyrinth of underground tunnels and chambers. In as many as 300 such setts, badger families snuggle together to keep warm. Each occupied set will have a clan of about 6 members, but at this time of year, young can double this number. They are already several weeks old, but have yet to venture above ground. It will soon be time, but for now they can only dream of what the outside world might be like. Badger families and their ancestors have spent endless winters like this, huddled in the safety of their setts. Remarkably, in the Doomsday Book, specific setts were mentioned which are still in use today. As the forest starts to wake, there is still no sign of the badgers. They are rarely seen, particularly before nightfall. The slightest noise or smell sends them running for their set, but patience will eventually pay off. As adults emerge, they check the air before venturing out. Their sense of smell is many times more sensitive than our own, so they can easily detect potential dangers. The coast is clear. Time to get on with some vital set maintenance. Having youngsters permanently below ground can be messy. It's time for a spring clean, and old bracken makes the perfect bedding. It's very unusual to see badgers doing this in the daytime. It's a job usually done under cover of night. It's not the most graceful activity, but backwards shuffling is the best way to get the job done. So what is so special about the badger? Surprisingly, it's the largest remaining carnivore left in the British Isles, and yet we hardly ever see them. The UK is badger central, with 300,000 living here. In Europe, it's a very different story, with numbers having declined dramatically. Since the New Forest is now a national park, the badger families that live here at least have some protection from development. The forest is a hive of activity as the badger's many neighbours go about their lives. In a nearby tree, a lesser spotted woodpecker feeds its chick. Deer graze on the new spring growth. And fox cubs have been out of their den for a few weeks now. The forest's young badgers have finally emerged from their setts. The fact that it is still light doesn't seem to bother them at all. They are more interested in wrestling games and rough and tumble. The adults are more active as well. Although females become pregnant at this time of year, there is a delay in development, so that the young are born each spring after the previous year's young have become independent. Badgers are mainly nocturnal, which is why, although they are such large mammals, they are so rarely seen. It's a real privilege to see these private animals in this way. Despite being our largest carnivore, badgers prefer to root around in the soil for surprisingly small prey. Strong claws act as the perfect tools for digging. They have a varied diet, but by far their favourite are earthworms, and they will hunt out as many as 200 in just one night. At the height of summer, long evenings mean that the badgers can be seen out in the open long before nightfall. For badgers, their favourite pastime has to be grooming. On warm summer evenings, they sit around the set doing just that. But it's unusual to see them quite so relaxed out in broad daylight. It's hard to believe these are wild animals. Grooming helps to affirm bonds between the family members and keeps the group together as a strong family unit. Badgers obsessively comb every inch of their hair. Help is at hand for those unreachable parts. As the summer ends and the evenings draw in, there is little difference in size between the youngsters and their parents. They have piled on weight in order to get them through their first winter. They will stay with their family groups until they are much older, enjoying the security of the family set. It can take hours of patience to get the smallest insight into these elusive animals' lives. In an ever-changing world, there is a consistency to the way badgers live, which is almost comforting. Safe in the sanctuary of the New Forest, there is every chance that they will continue living in this way for countless years to come.